Yo guys, Matt from Epsilon Mining. Here I am with you, back at you with another YouTube mining video. My voice is still quite coarse. I'm still on the mend from the C19 virus. I don't know exactly what variant I got. I can only imagine it's probably the latest Omicron virus. Sounds like a transformer, like a cool transformer, but unfortunately it's not. Omicron is not the next cool transformer that will join Optimus Prime in the battle against evil. Instead, Omicron is a horrible and stupid respiratory infection that I have. And yeah, anyways, enough about that. I'm starting to feel a little better, but I'm here to talk about, and I've got a great response with regard to some of the comments I've made on the channel about how I feel a lot of the other YouTubers are basically just straight out sellouts at this point. I'm not trying to make enemies or anything at this point, but everyone seems to be a straight out sellout. No, I think they're I think they're really great and everything, but it's clear that they're accepting these sponsorships for whatever amount of money that they're being given to essentially play things like Octaminer ads and whatnot. When I'm a very entrepreneurial person myself, right? I mean, I started the Flux node store that I'm trying to get rid of some of these small computers I have. I'm not sure how big it's going to turn out. I got one sale so far, but I mean, I'm not selling them at exorbitant prices, right? I think they're relatively fair prices, considering I bought a bunch in bulk. So I'm trying to pass those savings down to everyone else. And I'm putting some time into actually getting those boxes set up and working. And I got actually 5 of those Flux nodes up. I'll do a video on that. So I mean, I'm pretty confident that what I'm selling there, or what I'm trying to provide to the community through these Flux nodes, is not really shilling in the sense that Octaminer and other riser type videos are. So you'll never find me selling out for a few $100 here and there just for some ad or whatnot. And yeah, I just don't agree with it, because I think basically they're benefiting from getting sent free hardware, and then they're going and then promoting it or using it, and then they're not convincing themselves that it's a great thing to use. Now, I'm not saying they're not great cases. I mean, I'm not saying they're not any more greater than, I don't know, an iPhone is, but we're not talking Apple here, Apple prices, right? We're talking, I heard my dog sounds like he's just puking or something over there. We're not talking Apple and Samsung or something like that, or Android. I mean, we're seeing overly inflated prices on these things that just don't make sense. They just don't add up. And the only reason that they cost more is that their overhead is higher, their marketing is higher, and they want to get more profit. Obviously, that's part of the point of business, right? But what I'm coming to you as, and giving you a different message here, is saying that there's nothing wrong with the cases you saw early in this video. In the intro there, I showed all my server cases. I got about 11 or 12 of them or something. And I moved all my GPUs into those server cases. Why did I move my GPUs into those server cases? It's simple. One, simplicity, reliability. So I have less wires dangling around everywhere in the open air cases. I have built open air cases, as you've seen. I have all these open air cases sitting around that are vacant right now. I took all the GPUs out of them. But those open air rigs tend to lack a lot of things like forced airflow. So when it gets really hot, the air doesn't seem to flow through the cards and cause as good cooling. That being said, you don't need to spend what is it, $700 times 5, a significant amount of money on these cases to get the same effect, because essentially all it is, it's a small enclosed box, metal box, with a with a motherboard inside, with a power supply, and all the wires. And I do see some, there tends to be a lot of claims about the wires being shitty and quality of the wires being fine. I've been running these cases for almost 6 months, quite a bit now. Had moved on to these server cases for at least 6 months now, and I'm not seeing any problems with the wires. In fact, the wires are of good gauge quality, meaning the wire's thick enough to handle the wattage being put through them. Now, I did have a problem with 3060 rig a few months back where I used a splitter, and that was from Amazon, and it wasn't because it was from Amazon. Let me get that very clear. It wasn't because it's from Amazon that I had the wire that burnt on one of those things. The cards and everything was fine, guys. There's nothing to worry about, no fire or nothing. The wire insulation burnt because it got too hot and it melted, and the card just wasn't working anymore because the connection was the power connection, the PCI Express power connection wasn't good. That's not an Amazon problem. That's a product problem, and that's something that I should have inspected on arrival and saw, okay, well, this wire looks super thin, and check more of the gauging on it. Most of these server cases you buy, the gauge on the wires will be good and will be high enough. And you can ask the supplier on Alibaba or AliExpress what the gauge of the wires are, and be responsible with what sort of power you're putting through them. If you're gonna get like basically really high gauge wires, so like basically the way it works is the higher the gauge the wire, the thinner it is. The lower the gauge the wire, the thicker it is. Generally speaking, the lower the gauge the wire, the more wattage you put through them, so you can put more powerful GPUs on those wires, like a 3090 or 3080 on, say 14 gauge wire. Whereas if you have a 16 or 18 gauge wire, you'd be fine, but just don't put something, like a 3090 where you're pulling 300 watts through it. Put something like maybe a 3070 where it's like 140, 150 watts, right? Or put something like 82,000 on it, or even maybe like a 3060 where you're pulling 130, or an RX 6600 or something like that where you're pulling under 100 watts. You're gonna be fine. Really, so you can't just go around saying that, okay, well, it's Alibaba or it's Amazon that's the problem and it's a piece of shit. No, the problem is the wire itself wasn't good enough. It doesn't matter where it's from. It just so happens that if you buy something from Octomine or you buy something from these sponsored providers, they're going to use lower gauge wires that are actually going to handle it a little better automatically, right? And then they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for that, to do that, when you could have done your own research and your own inspection on the wires. So I haven't had a single problem since that one, and that was a 4-to-3 splitter as well. So that was also another problem. So like I have all these cases. I got no problem with the cases, and I got no problem saying that they didn't need to spend. Basically, so I got these for like a lot of them for like 500 Canadian or under. That's not even like, so these Octominer cases are going for $699 US. Like, what? I don't even know what that is. That's like $800 something Canadian, plus import fees. Not to mention you need to buy 5 of the damn things. Like, I don't agree with that at all. That minimum order of 5 is just a way for you to spend more money at once with them. Right? They want to make more money from you in one shot. So instead of selling you a case for $6.99 or $5.99, I think they should be no more than $4.99 US. They want to get 5 of them. They want you to buy 5 of them at once, so they make more money off you in one shot. That's all it is. It's all it is. I mean, you could argue that it's logistics and they can handle more orders and they'd rather just send a 5 at one in bulk, but you're paying up the ass with that. You're paying up the ass with the shipping and the freight. You're paying up the ass on higher import fees to get 5. You're paying more to get 5, and it's just not worth it. And I want to sit here and say that I want to kind of be the people's channel here, like the people's channel here. And this is why I'm also going to talk about why 32 Ethereum is fucking bullshit. Right? So, I've been seeing arguments saying that, oh, well, especially from that fucking Vitalik motherfucker, right? Going around saying, okay, well, just stake the ETH now. So you get to lock in 32 ETH. So you don't even know when you can get that out, for one thing. It's not even, when they go to the merge, it's not, you can't get that money out yet. That's supposedly one of the other upgrades they're doing to the Ethereum network. The 32 ETH you'll be able to get out maybe at some point next year. Who knows when? But you need to take $47,000 out of your family, away from your family, away from your if you need it for your children, or for your house. And $47,000 is a lot of money. Okay? Just to kind of drive this home a little bit, the median household income was 67,000 US dollars, I guess, in 2020 in the States. People are not making enough money to dump 47 grand. Now, this is before your income tax, mind you. So they want you to take $47,000 after you've already paid income tax on it, right? And then put that into one node. That's it, one staking node. 47 G's, guys. What is that, a Tesla? What can you buy for $47,000? The average Joe can get a GPU and start GPU mining for a few $100. Even in the bull market when it was expensive, you could go buy a GPU for under $1,000 and get a rig up for maybe $1,500 and start mining, getting paid out in crypto, right? But now, when Ethereum goes to proof of stake, which is my other gripe, which is nothing more than a scheme to appease the wealthy and the rich, because who has 47 grand and like multiple of them? Like, let's say you want to get 10 nodes up or something. You want to stake 10 nodes, right? 47,000, so $500,000. And what is the return on these? Okay, here we are at staking rewards. Let's see, Ethereum 2.0. So if you put in 32 ETH, okay, and you stake all that 32 ETH, your total reward rate is 4.08. Oh my god, $156 a month. Okay, what sort of life-changing money is that? Like, literally, if you had 10, okay, so let me just put this into perspective. If you had 10 of these nodes and you put 320 ETH up, okay, you're only making $1,500. And if you have $500,000 to just lock up in some fucking network that you can't even access that money, you can't get that money to feed your children or to buy things that you need for yourself or your house, and you need to lock that money away. And you have $500,000 to do that, which most people don't. That's a lot of damn money. You're making $1,500 a month. What is that? $1,500 a month is nothing. If you put 3,200 ETH, if you're a rich motherfucker, right? You make 15 grand. So to make any amount of money, to make any decent amount of money, you need to be rich already, right? And even the amount you'd get off of 3,200 ETH, which is an ungodly amount of money, the amount of money you return is relatively small. Even for the average person, $100,000 sounds a lot to you, but do you have 3,200 ETH? Hell no, right? Not a lot of people have that much sort of money. So coming back to the point is this channel is for the people's channel. I mean, Ethereum 2.0 is already hurting the miners. It's already going to hurt people like you and me when it comes to making decent monthly amounts of money, right? We're talking, we want an extra $500 or $1,000 right here and there. But to make an extra $1,000, you need to put down a retarded amount. Sorry, let me politically correct myself there. You need to put down a ridiculous amount of money to do that. So 320 ETH, which is $500,000, just to get $1,500, which is what pretty much most of us are kind of going for, and we're probably easily getting that now with mining. Now, with Ethereum going into the merge, basically you can't get that anymore. So honestly, my perspective on Vitalik and all his bullshit fucking virtue signaling nonsense when it comes to going proof of stake because, oh god, we're gonna save all the whales or some bullshit like that. You're just shitting on the little person. And this guy came from Waterloo, and I'm from this region, this kind of region, Kitchener-Waterloo area, right, in Ontario. This guy came out of the University of Waterloo computer science degree, didn't even fucking graduate, okay? He came from a humble beginning, now only to rise to the top to become essentially this rich bastard. And they're pushing out this agenda, which is just going to screw people like you and me. And now we basically have one less opportunity to improve our own financial situations, because only now can rich bastards essentially get by staking a huge amount of ETH. So when this is all going on, do I feel, how can any one of us miners feel okay shilling server cases to you guys that cost twice as much when this is going to come down anyways? When we know the Ethereum, we know the merge is coming, okay, we know it's hitting. It's just immoral to go around pushing $700 server cases on you, a minimum order of 5, right before this happens. It's not right. It's just not right. I'm sorry. They should be helping the community, okay? They should be getting discounts, right? They should be lowering the price of these things and giving discounts. Look at the prices of the ASICs, right? And this is kind of one ASIC which I kind of do support. I'm not trying to sell this to you, but I did buy 4 of these because I feel this is the only way you can make something with Ethereum Classic when Ethereum Classic gets hit with all the hash rate. This will be one of the ones which will continue to make money, whether that be small or large, and you have the best chance. That's why I'm not pushing the iPolos. That's why I didn't buy an iPolo, because the efficiency is just not there. Whereas these ones are coming down price. They do cost more per unit, yes, okay, but no shilling this at all. I'm saying I bought these. I think it's a decent, if you have the money, I think it's a better play than to buy something else. You do what you want. But to go around and selling these damn server cases, and they haven't dropped in price much at all, if anything. I'm not gonna go to the website because I don't want to throw too much shade here, but you're not helping the community out when everything's going to shit in a few months. Supposedly when Ethereum goes away and we're all gonna be making 5 cents per day. Why the hell would you? Where in the right mind does it make any logical sense to go and push $700 server cases, minimum order quantity 5, across the entire community? And that's not going to help you guys out. It's not going to help you guys out at all, because profits are going to go down. Why would you spend more on a server case? And if anything, you should be spending less on a server case, right? I spent less on these 12 server cases that I have from Alibaba, and they work just fine for the thermals because they all work in the same premise. I found this interesting website here called racksolutions.com. And it just talks about how a server case works. And this is like a Dell MX7000 server, and they're all kind of like rack mount servers. They all work the same way. They're kind of like blade servers. They're small. They go in like a drawer. They kind of look like a jazz miner, right? Server cases work in the same idea. They're not as thin, but they work in the same idea where you pull air from one side, blow it through over the components, and they exhaust over the other side. Hot and cold aisles. You probably heard that quite a bit. But they work on the same premise, right? So essentially, the only thing you're gonna experience, I'm not like a scientist or a thermodynamics engineer or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, as long as the airflow qualities of the case remain relatively the same, which means the speed and the ability of the fans, the CFM of the fans, to move that air through, okay. Lack of obstruction in the case itself, and I've seen inside Octaminers, and I've seen inside the cases that I have, they look the same. You have your wires, you got your GPUs. Obviously, you want the air to blow over the GPUs. You go on one side, and then you blow it the other side. That's it. Okay, and unless there's some sort of crazy amount of aerodynamics engineering gone into these cases, and to me, they look like a rectangle. They look like a rectangular box. They all look like rectangular boxes. Any improvements in airflow will be so negligible that it's not going to make any difference, 0.002 of a degree or something. Why would you spend the money on Octaminers? Okay, right? I've yet to see a single video doing like an empirical, evidential, scientific comparison between these two cases, airflow qualities, the volume of air, the fans. You know why? Because if they did, you wouldn't see any difference at all. So, in an environment where everything's going to hell, right? And we don't know what's going to happen after the merge. It's it's morally bankrupt to going around selling server cases that cost 2 to 3 times more. Okay, just because they look fancy and shiny. If you got the money and you want fancy shit sitting around your fucking mining room, fine, go do it, right? You get these fancy red handles, but hey, tell you what, send me an email. I'll get some fancy red handles from you. I'll get them anodized, and I'll send them to you, and it'll cost less than $20. You drill some holes into your Alibaba cases, screw them on the front, and there you go. Right? I mean, I've had 0 fan failures, 0 power supply failures, knock on wood, 0 power supply failures, and I have decent airflow across all my cases. This is my A2000 rig, which is with the Spider Miner case, pulling 100 at the memory at maximum, and they're running pretty good. And it's pretty warm today. It's going to get hotter. Like, this one's the only one I have problems with, and this is my Flux rig. But I don't think if I put this into an Octa monitor, it would make a damn difference at all. Maybe it would, but I don't think it'd make that much of a difference. Definitely not a difference that I'm willing to pay 3 times US dollars more to do. So anyways, guys, I'm just going to kind of leave that video there. I hope you like that kind of... I mean, if you look at my setup down in the basement, I kind of moved all the cases blowing into the grow tents, because putting everything in the grow tent, it was getting way too hot inside the grow tents. And I put 2 8-inch exhausts on each one of those. What am I talking? Each one of those grow tents. Man, I'm getting brain fog from COVID, and it's extracting and pulling all the air outside. And it does get hot down there, around 40 degrees, 45 on really hot days, and I've had to shut down, but it works pretty good. I mean, I have no problems with these server cases, and even in this really hot, demanding temperatures, these server cases run beautifully. No problems at all. And I can't say there'll be no problems in 5 years, but I can't see if there's no problems in 5 years with an Octa miner as well, or any of these fancy cases. So, anyways, guys, I will remain the people's channel. Okay, I'm the people's channel. I'm for you, the common guy or gal, making like 60 grand a year, under 60 grand a year, you know, thinking realistically about you guys, because you guys are the guys that push this entire industry forward. All my viewers, and I'm not going to push fancy stuff on you because it's not worth it. It's not in your best interest. Okay, let's put it that way. To spend, if you have a boatload of money, you want nice things, I say go for it. But I'm not going to recommend it if your goal is to basically make money here. Because if your goal is to make money here, going and buying all these expensive cases are just going to hurt you in the long run. Okay, and I made a lot of expensive mistakes myself, like spending lots of money on 3090s. If I can go back, I wouldn't buy a single 3090. I'd buy all 3070s, 3060s. You know why? Because they don't get fucking hot as shit. Yes, I'd have to run more of them, but they don't get so hot that the whole damn, the case, they throttle. Even like this one here, with only 4 inside this, and I got all these problems I'm getting with it. They are throttling. Not this one. Sorry, not that. 4 3090s. They should be pulling 120 each, right? But I got one pulling 117, 115, and these ones are throttling like it's 90 and 105 because these temperatures just won't go down. And this is the Dell RTX ones. If you guys don't know, and I even used the GPUrisers.com. Not sponsored, but this stuff's cool. If you could buy the actual little copper plates and use it instead, I recommend that as well, because these are expensive as well. And I spent a lot of money on these GPU coolers or whatever. CoolMyGPU.com. Yeah, I mean, if you got the money, sure, why not? But if you could find similar thickness, like little copper shims or something, I'd probably recommend that, to be honest with you, because I'm not going to be shilling anything here. But yeah, I would not buy 3090s. I would not buy 3080s because this is GDDR6X stuff. Yes, you can get more hash rate per card. It's not worth it in the summertime. It throttles too much. And the heat is just unbearable, and you got to spend a fucking fortune on thermal pads and these fucking plates and everything. So I won't do it. I won't do it. So I'm not going to recommend things that are going to waste people's money. I didn't go spend... If I went and bought 12 Octa miners, I probably would have regretted that too, because that would have cost tens of thousands of dollars. Like, it's just insane to think about that. To get 5, to get 10 of them. Yeah. What is that? 7 times 5? Yeah. Oh my God. 8 to 9 grand US. convert that to Canadian dollars, you're over $10,000, $11,000 on server cases. No, no, thank you. So that's one thing I didn't fuck up on, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. And I'll tell you guys, you shouldn't do it either, because like I'll be your guinea pig first and foremost, and say that this is the people's channel. I'm gonna think about the common man, common gal, and the common miner, GPU miner, because in the end, it's all about you guys. It's not about trying to shill and make a couple extra bucks here and there, because I don't think that's right, and I don't agree with it. Anyways, guys, I yabbed on for too long. I will talk to you guys in the next video. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.